Also, there's actually another. There's more to say.
We never heard of him. Right? We didn't.
There's more to say about this Rene Zegarius guy and this Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talk about drug problems or clearing up drug problems. They were talking about heroin and saying, oh, it's a loser's drug or whatever. Well, I can't really comment too much about it, but I've got quite a lot of insights that are worth mentioning for what it's worth to throw in there just in case, which is that, you know, for example, I mean, my friend has sadly passed away recently due to drugs, I think, and he did actually tell me a story a few years ago about he collected some drugs from a music production studio. That's where he picked them up because he went to watch a band, and apparently he'd got talking to someone through messaging or whatever and about getting free tickets for a gig, and if he collected the drugs for the band, then he could get free tickets and go into the gig, right? If he picked their drugs up for them and took them in, right? I don't know what band it was. It was some American band, some punk band. It could have been any band. I don't know what the band was, but this is just an example, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of these bands who are on tour getting drugs and getting people to pick them up and getting free tickets. This is just an example. But I think the Guns N' Roses, the Axl Rose story, is a good example. We know that Guns N' Roses had heroin problems, or it was one of the drugs they were doing, among others. Russell Brand, actually, probably himself. In fact, besides Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you know, Russell Brand, I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has got this Rene Zegarius guy on, this Dutch guy. You know, it would have been interesting for Kennedy to talk to Brand about it. I remember watching a video with Brand when he's got this kind of quite, he's got this vest on, this kind of amusing vest, extremely triple casual vest, and he's at some kind of really serious meeting with MPs like Theresa May and so forth about, in fact, I think it was Russell Brand was actually talking about correcting, you know, sorting out drug problems and so forth. He was actually giving evidence, I think, to Theresa May and some other committee members at some kind of meeting. Brand is a good example in his comedy career. You see, the thing I think about heroin likely is that, you see, if heroin, when people first take it, if it enables them to overcome their fears, or if, you know, if the drug lends any advocacy towards how it's named, it's called hero-in, right? To hero in. So it gestures at being a hero or being able to be a hero, right? Now, the thing is, a band like Guns N' Roses, possibly even similar to, you see, Axl Rose is probably a comparable case to Russell Brand in a way, although Russell Brand's a comedian, Axl Rose is a rock star. But they both started out with, you know, normal upbringings, or possibly even hard working class or whatever upbringings, and ended up becoming musicians or celebrities. And the obviously the drug use was earlier on. I would suggest that, you know, it did contribute them towards throwing them into their careers. But the problem is, not everyone wants to be a celebrity. Not everyone wants to be famous, right? I mean, if you get someone like Zoe Ball or Claudia Winkleman or these Ant and Dec, these people who are obsessed with television, right? They want to do that, right? Now, I think possibly the Queen could have been on opiates at some point. We don't know. Henry VIII was. So, you know, some people want to. Some people, want to do other things. Like, I don't know, just I don't know, maybe play golf or something. I don't know what they want to do. People don't always want to do the same thing, right? But it might not necessarily be. I think didn't I don't really know too much about artists and heroin. I would have thought Andy Warhol probably might have been dabbling in that kind of drugs. But artists, you don't necessarily need courage to paint or to be happy to paint. It's not the type of thing that anyone can do. But maybe to do an exhibition or travel around or whatever. But some people, this is the thing. People are different. Not everyone's got the same ambitions and goals, but whatever those ambitions and goals are, it may help them along the way. Now whether or not they've got an addictive personality or not. Now the thing is, I think the point that this Rene Zegarius guy, whatever, was making, he was trying to make out that heroin is a loser drug. Now, you lose when you're on the downer or when you're addicted to it and you need more and you're not happy when you don't have it. The thing is, depending on what your friend circles are and what your classes are, is different. Now, Russell Brand and Axl Rose, for example, started off, in their respective careers. Axl Rose had a band and he toured and did all live gigs in, sketchy places, but they gradually were successful and then they ended up being very famous, kind of almost like Russell Brand, but with comedy, right, and television. Now, the thing is, if you get into that kind of those circles, Axl Rose was like dating, movie stars and stuff like that. You get these characters like Michael Barrymore. Now, if once you start making a hell of a lot of money and there's a lot of money involved, like Jeffrey Epstein, for example, right? And you get in these television circles, these Bill Gates, the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. You see, you've got sketchy things happening. You've got sketchy, questionable people. There's probably a lot of drugs going on with Epstein when he's got that woman on the plane with him and all that, It's probably drug fueled. It's not like on the streets with, sketchy people and you got no money and you're having to sell all your things and then you get in with dodgy dealers and, you get more likely to overdose or be a loser or whatever. If you are a television presenter, for example, and you're getting, handers under the table from Michael Barrymore, it's not. Well, no, Michael Barrymore ended up with someone dead in his swimming pool, didn't he? Barrymore ended up with someone dead in his swimming pool because of the drugs. So I suppose even if there's a hell of a lot of money and well-known people, but that's why those things happen, because I think that person who died wasn't a celebrity, but he was hanging around with them, and when you're dabbling with these people who've got their reputations and a lot of money, it's almost like dabbling with, messing with Bill Gates or messing with Larry Fink or messing with Donald Trump. But then I suppose that incident the other week with Trump, I suppose, overshadows the Barrymore swimming pool escapade. But it's that type of thing, okay, sketchy things happen, but on one level, you've got success and money, right? And drugs, and on the other you've got people who are down and out without any money, and the problem is those people don't have money and they're not necessarily people they can trust or whatever. But in the celebrity circles, it's a different class of people and it's a different level of society, but you can still end up getting in situations. But notice the person who died was the normal non-celebrity person, Look at Savile. Savile didn't even get anything done to him until after he passed away, So they wield a lot of power, these circles, because you've got all these wacky producers, fashion circles. I mean, look at Jean-Paul Gaultier. Liz Truss had some drugs found in her apartment, but nothing was done to her because of who she is and the circles and so forth. She wouldn't have been getting her stuff from, some urchin peddling on the street. She'll have been getting them from some Michael Barrymore style character. Who are these caricatures who were giving the drugs to the people in the high levels? It's enough for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to say, how can we clear up Amsterdam or whatever, but who are the drug dealers in LA? As Joe Biden, Hunter Biden was addicted to drugs, wasn't he? I mean, if you want to ask how, the last person to ask how to clear up drugs in America is Joe Biden. I mean, he can't even clear his son up from drugs, can he? So, we don't even know whether that story is all true or not, or whether some of it's just propaganda, we don't know. This is the thing. But there's, I wouldn't necessarily say that, this is for losers or that is for losers or whatever, but I would have thought it does seem to me generally, and I might be wrong about this, but from what I can gather, and I think Terence McKenna's probably kind of like an exception, when it comes to cannabis and people who smoke cannabis, it definitely, I don't associate cannabis with people who are like desperate to be famous or get on television, although maybe a lot of people do smoke cannabis who go on TV, but it seems like it's a more of a thing for people who aren't that bothered about this or aren't that bothered about that, or just steady and easy and just going along steady. I think that's why the government don't like it, because you end up where people aren't even that bothered about having a full-time job. They're just happy with the normal things in life, or, maybe intellectual pursuits, at least language intellectual pursuits. So, it definitely is, I think cannabis definitely is a drug that is maybe less ambitious and more steady and easy going, whereas I think with when he says coke's not a loser's drug, I think it's because people who are attracted to it and people who like it and enjoy it and want it are people who are successful, and they want, what they're actually doing is they're tweaking life, basically. They've got like they might have an amazing business, and they might be designing amazing clothes, and they might have amazing friends, and they might have, they might even do fashion shows or galleries, if they're succeeding in life. But usually in life, when you're succeeding, you usually want more. And the thing with drugs like cocaine and things like that is that it's turning the volume up on certain things, particularly sexual things. And when they, stuff like that, whether it's Hunter Biden or whatever, he's a classic example, I suppose. Now the Hunter Biden thing didn't work out for him, though, did it? I suppose. Well, Hunter Biden's definitely a loser now, isn't he? So that statement that Rene come out with, that coke's less of a loser drug, look at Hunter Biden. This is the thing. And then if you think of like amphetamines and things like that, there's so many different types that have already got so many different variations. I think a lot of the professional, I think that was it Herzog, Christian Herzog, wasn't he mad on amphetamines? It's like on the Point Break film. You see, on that Point Break film, you've got the surfer guys on the beach, and then when they do that house raid, and you've got them. This is a movie, by the way. This is fictional, but you know they're meant to be basically off their heads on amphetamines on speed in the house, aren't they? When there's that raid, and you know those types of drugs can give people confidence and can make people sharp or witty or clever. So you know things like that can be attractive to famous people who are wanting to make people laugh or come out with jokes or be witty or whatever, you know, on the ball or on the point. But then again, the thing is, there's a lot of different. The things with things like that is that there's so many different specialist. There's so many different types of substances out. We don't know what they all are, and it's the scientists who have got all the, like, you know, the catalogue basically, and you know, depending on who you're getting it off and what it is. But I know that in America, I did watch that program when there was a massive methamphetamine problem. I think they did that Breaking Bad series, didn't they, based around it? But you know, there was a lot of Americans, like, you know, meth addicts, and they were cooking up their own meth in basements and stuff. It's almost like the modern moonshine, you know, and all over America, and had a big problem with it all over the United States. But that's just people who, you know, who you know, depending on what they want and what their ambitions and goals are, all these different things affect different people differently, you know. Some people, that's the thing. If, you know, someone is a certain, not everyone, see, like Axl Rose or Russell Brand, there might be someone who is a musician who just likes to play music and isn't that bothered about being famous, or a comedian who's not that bothered about being successful or whatever, but it might still make them, you know, do what they're doing just to whatever they're happy or content with, you know. And if they're not making money, they're not making money. But you know, there's a lot to all this. There's a lot of evidence that isn't being taken into consideration, like the Epstein stuff, like the Michael Barrymore stuff, like the Hunter Biden stuff, like all the musicians. I mean, really. I mean, look at what's going on with all the grunge music, you know, all the Kurt Cobain stuff, all the Chris Cornell stuff. Chris Cornell did a James 007 soundtrack, you know. There's a hell of a lot of information about these things, these problems. You see, in the songs, in the lyrics, you see this Rene Zegarius guy. He's saying, oh yeah, we've learned all this stuff, we've got all these details, we've been making studies of people, you know, we've got all these numbers, these figures and this and that. But, you know, you can get, if you know what you're looking at and if you know what you're reading, you know, you get, you know, couple of songs, you know, get the songbook out, you know. This is the thing, you know, all these songs written by these people are the evidence. But, you know, it's evidence if you're actually reading and interpreting properly. What does it mean? What are they saying about it? A lot of it's describing all the problems about the drugs in the songs. A lot of it's describing all the problems that they went through or had, or the struggles even with the drugs and possibly even quitting them, and then or whatever. So, I mean, it's a big subject to delve into, but the evidence is there, the information is there, right? And to be honest, it's equally as valid evidence as the evidence from the statistics, from the clinics, from the rehab centres, from the projects that they're doing in these other places. It just depends who's reading it and if you're interpreting it properly, and if it's correctly included, assessed, and recognised and used properly as evidence, which is useful and beneficial when you want to demonstrate, prove, or show something. That's the thing. I mean, just look at the thing is, look at Elvis. I mean, you could say that if Elvis never ever had took a drug, he wouldn't have ever been. There wouldn't have been an Elvis. You know, you probably could have said that with Johnny Cash. Not to say that they wouldn't have made music or wouldn't have been successful, but they wouldn't have written those exact songs that they wrote. Unlikely would have written Johnny Cash wouldn't have done that Hurt cover. Wouldn't have probably done Ring of Fire. You know. A lot of the, you see, we celebrate all these things. They play these songs on the radio. They look up to these things. They admire them. You know, you got Simon Cowell, a family show. You see, this is the intelligence we're dealing with MPs now, and even local councils, even worse, right? You've got the family show at like 8:00 on mainstream TV. You know, he's pushing the boundaries. It's Simon Cowell, you know, with his nipple hanging out and, you know, sweat dribbling down his hair gel trickling down the side of his face with a super tan. And he's got all these people lining up to go on his show, wanting to be famous, you know, doing a performance in front of him. You know, the whole family watch it, the whole country watch it. And they're doing a song, right? Okay, you know, doing a cover song of, like, you know, Johnny Cash, you know, Ring of Fire, a song that was written and wouldn't exist unless someone was high on drugs and taking drugs. So, and then everyone's cheering, and then you've got some, you know, plump Scottish woman, doing a version of it, and everyone, housewife in Scotland is, you know, thinking, oh yeah, we can get somewhere in life and succeed. You see, this is the level of intelligence we have to deal with in life. We have to deal with Simon Cowell, you know, get your 8-year-old kid, you know, with the karaoke machine in the front room, you know, I want to go sing in Simon Cowell's swimming pool, Ring of Fire, you know, just like Elvis sung it, you know, when he was, shrapnel in his toilet on speed or whatever. This is the intellect we're dealing with. Yet we've got, you know, like...
Yes, the Crown Prosecutor is now, here we have the Prime Minister of England, Sir Keir Starmer. Yes, hello, Keir. And now we have the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Right Honourable Rachel Reeves. Now to solve all the problems. Come on, Rachel, sing us a song. Where's Liz Truss? Oh, how we have Liz Truss. Hello, Liz. They're on the stage with Theresa May. Do us a little dance. So, Theresa's coming on singing, Theresa chooses to come onto the stage to Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire. You know, that's a good song. Let's get all the 8-year-old girls clapping at Theresa May. I want to be a politician when I grow up and come on the stage to Burning Ring of Fire. You know, this is it. The level of intelligence is just, it's not there. These people don't even know what they're doing. And this is the thing, you know. This is you likely don't get there. But Liz Truss was in the Ring of Fire because apparently they found some they found lines of cocaine or whatever it was in her apartment anyway, Liz Truss. So what else can you say? This is the thing, you know. Short of headbutting someone in the House of Commons tea room or whatever, whoever that was, you know, it's like men behaving badly. Faulty Towers, these people, you know, they're not necessarily fit to be in charge. It's almost, you know, it's almost like, you know, Radio Norwich or some kind of, you know, but they mock this. They joke about it. You know, it's all known to the BBC. The BBC know all about this. You know, they're doing it all. You know, on a Saturday evening. You know, behind the awards ceremony or whatever with the with the
Steve Wright, apparently Steve Wright with his second apartment. These people are household names. They're on the. Steve Wright was on the radio every single day of the week. It's 365 days a year. Steve Wright was on the radio all the time, or whatever. Well, not 365 days a year, but close enough. And apparently he was, going off to his girlfriend, so we're led to believe, for his drug fiend sessions, and he was, everyone in the country was listening to him, from his 4-year-olds to old age pensioners, so it's it is laughable. It is laughable, really.